Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for giving me a couple minutes here to get started. I'm really looking forward to reading for Cancer today. As you know here, if you're watching live, it's on the Gate Portal, which is 8/8. It's also a new moon. The moon is in Leo. A lot of really powerful energy coming through, irrespective of where this is placed in your chart, or if you just came in for the channel messages or the meditation, it's a good day for both because we're going to be doing some powerful work at clearing and opening. I'm going to put Apollo down. He's a little bit tired here. Just wanted to bring him up to say hi at the beginning. Also, because we're going to be talking about one of the stars in mythology, which is associated with dogs here. So we'll talk about that in a second. Sirius will make an appearance here today. You have a triple totem. We're going to get into this in a second, but we're going to be talking today about the new moon, the Gate Portal, and also Sirius the star. And this beginning portion, especially for your sign, everybody's welcome because there's going to be some universal messages. At the end, I have some that are very specific to you, but because we're all experiencing the same sort of portal opening at the same time, I think everybody's welcome here at the beginning and the end. Let's talk a little bit about the organization of what's coming through for today, and we'll get straight into the messages since there's so much to talk about. So today, as always, we'll begin with channeled messages, which I have here in front of me. Channeled messages come through when I am meditating. They come through from dream interpretation, and they also sometimes, like today, are very much associated with what's going on celestially. After we go through these channeled messages, we're going to take a look at the Celtic Cross, and that'll allow us to dig a little bit deeper into all of the opportunities, any of the potential blocks that are coming through for the month ahead. I like to look at that in a very sort of objective point of view. I'm not going to look at it just as love or career. It's going to be whatever needs to happen. And then I will expand it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny afterwards. Then we'll do a mini review just to make sure that we all know what we just covered, and then go a little bit deeper into the soul path. And I usually take a quick audit of what comes through in the cards to see if there's something missing or there's a lot of something. And then that allows us to figure out what to focus on. So that's very much sort of in the moment. We'll figure it out after I do the Celtic Cross, and then we'll go a little bit deeper into that sort of blessing block area. And a meditation today, which is going to be powerful. We're going to really walk into that Gate portal. I actually felt, I wasn't even thinking about it a few days ago. I had a light code activation, which was sort of like an early download for the Gate portal. And for me, I heard a series of like high pitched tones, and I saw light coming through. So I kind of know what to do, or kind of what to kind of bring through for you. I think we'll pull in the Egyptian pyramids as well in this meditation, because the constellation, like Orion's belt, lines up with the three pyramids. So I think we'll do something magical with the pyramids and the Lion's Gate at the end. So please stick around for the meditation if you want to open up abundance. It'll be special today. At the very end, I always allow for one final question, which can be something that I didn't have a chance to cover, or something else that's kind of personal to you. You'll meditate on it. I'll pull a card and I'll answer it. That's how everything's organized today, and usually always. Today's a little bit special because of the alignment. And it's actually quite auspicious that we did it for Cancer, not Leo, because Cancer's ruled by the moon. And today is a new moon. So the fact that it's a new moon and it's the Lion's Gate and I'm doing Cancer, it actually all comes together in a nice package. I have a Cancer placement as well. It's kind of different in my chart. It's in Mars, actually, but I do have a Cancer placement. So this is something I'm interested in too. So we'll see what's coming through today. Okay. Couple of quick notes. First of all, welcome to everybody, whether it's your first time here or you're contributing and sustaining member, like a bunch of you that I see here in chat. I appreciate your presence today. Thank you to my moderators, Maria and Dakota. They're here to answer any questions that you might have. If you are here and it's your first time, consider subscribing. At some point, if you like what you see, hit the like button as well, the thumbs up. It does help with discovery. I know that you guys probably get sick of hearing it, but it is really helpful for us creators. One last word here before I get started. I am going to go into a channeled state as I start to get into this reading. So I won't answer questions. I'll keep an eye on chat to make sure that you can see and hear me. But I probably will not answer questions until the end. If you would like to show support, I do see this on the side. It does help, and it also helps me do more videos. So you can use this super chat icon and send some love and support in real time. If you happen to be watching this on replay later, you can also use the super thanks icon right by share. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for your presence today. And let's get into the messages. All right. I'm going to pull out my iPad here as well for some visual cues so we can talk about all of the information that we'll be looking at today. All right, so first things first. As I said earlier, we're kind of at this sort of triple totem here between the new moon, which there's really nothing to see. It's kind of cool if you go outside, depending on when you go out. It's going to look a lot like that. You see my thumbprints more than anything. You'll probably just see that sort of like gentle crescent of a shape around the moon, hardly anything. New moons are so powerful when it comes to being able to create, to manifest, and to open up. So we'll talk about that in a second. As I said, today's powerful because of the alignment of the constellation of like Orion's belt there. Basically is right over top of the three pyramids, which is cool. And also today we'll be talking a little bit about Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky. Night sky, and it's close to Orion. If you want to look at the constellations there, it's the lower one, Canis Major, and basically as it rises, then you get that alignment on the pyramids. So we have a lot of celestial stuff happening today, which is why some of you could either be feeling it one way or another. You could be really exhausted this morning, but I have a feeling that by the time tomorrow comes around, that should shift for you. So if you're really sensitive, and again, depending on where your placements are in your chart, this could be a very overwhelming time. It could also be a very energetically charged time for you. So be kind to yourself as you kind of move through the next couple of days here. I do feel, though, however, for the next month ahead, this is particularly auspicious and particularly positive. So let's talk about it. Again, triple totem, new moon, Lion's Gate, and Sirius. What is this Lion's Gate? Well, basically, as Sirius, which I just showed you, that's that star, the brightest star, rises in the night sky. Orion's belt aligns with those pyramids in Giza, and I showed you that picture as well, kind of right over the top of each of those pyramids. This increases the amount of cosmic energy that's flowing into this planet, this dimension at this time, and it also assists with manifestation. So what you want to be mindful of right now is the power of your thoughts. So there is no room for I can't, it won't, I shouldn't, none of the sort of restrictive thoughts, at least for the next couple of days, I would say probably through this week. You want to, we'll get into this in a second here, but I want you to use instead the idea of I am, or it will, or it is. Active and positive and affirmative statements are going to be more important. So I am creating this, and this, so that's going to be a better way to look at it than this never happens. This probably won't happen. They may not like, don't do that. Don't do that. It's just kind of like undoing the manifestation energy right now. Okay. As I said earlier, because you are, because the moon rules your sign and we're in a new moon, this is particularly intense for you. The new moon is going to help you create new phases here during this Lion's Gate, and the Lion's Gate itself is amplifying energy. So you have like three things that are helping you move into a new space. And if you have any sort of placements in Leo, this is going to also be really intense for you, since this new moon is in Leo. Happy birthday to any Leos out there. So basically here, thoughts and intentions are extremely powerful and extremely important. And Cancer, this is a really good day for you to be watching, and a really good month ahead, no matter when you see this, to set those, to kind of like sow the seeds of creation. Okay. What I'd like you to do tonight, even if you're watching this a little bit later, you're watching this in, the next month ahead, that's okay. We're broadcasting in August. It's for September. These readings really can take you 6 to 8 weeks. So whenever you see this, you can still do this. I'd like you to take a pen and paper and write down your intentions tonight. Doesn't matter, you can use cards, you can put them in a notebook, you can do a fancy piece of paper and write them out. I don't want you typing them. I actually want you to manually write them, because there's power in scribing. And so if you're not capable of doing that, that's okay. Have someone write them for you. But if you can write them yourselves, please write them. And then use present and affirmative statements. I am, I will, it is, we are, those sort of things. So, and then I want you to imagine that it's not about hoping that something's happening. It's the active creation of your goal. So I am learning to do this, or it would be even more powerful. Let's say if you want to step into a new business, say I am a powerful business person, and I am creating abundance by doing this, this, and this, and I will see results now. something like that. So go into active and affirmative, nouns, adjectives, and verbs. It all should be positive, okay? I want you to speak the intentions after you write them. And then you can place a crystal on top of the written intentions before you go to bed tonight. There's really not much moonlight because it's new moon. So I would say you can still leave it outside or in the window. There'll be a little bit. The intention more is like you're releasing that. So see it, say it, and then let it go, because the universe can and will hear it. You can do it anytime today, actually, but moonlight is good too, since we're working with the moon here. For those of you that are actually in Europe, this is perfect because you're going to be hearing me in the evening hours. So it's kind of nice. So great. But here in the States, you can do it this evening if you'd like to. I want you to visualize each and every one of your dreams coming true as you're doing this as well. So as you go to bed tonight, we're going to do the reverse 9 of Swords. This will be thinking of beautiful, wonderful things happening rather than, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? What's going to happen here? How am I going to pay for this? It's like obliterating the 9 of Swords and just putting in positive energy. If anything tonight, it would be the star, since we're looking at so many celestial symbols here with, Sirius and Orion and all of that. So you are the star, you're shining bright. And this is going to be your period of growth and abundance, right? Just a little bit of fun facts here to help with what's important about Sirius and how it's going to help us as well. Sirius in Greek mythology was the dog of the hunter Orion. That's why it's Canis Major, right? And it's also the brightest star in the night sky, which is going to help us see what we need to do. It's also associated in Egyptian mythology with the god Osiris, which was the ruler of the underworld. And it's a time for growth, change, rebirth, major shifts. Stagnation is over. So Osiris rather, would be like death, right? And we're going to take a death reversed and turn it upright so that you can really step into change. So for any of you that have seen stagnation or have had trouble stepping into change, Osiris, transformation, death, that's part of this portal too that's going to open up. We're going to go through it and step into something new. Oftentimes when you create, you have to release. So take a look and do an audit of your life and think, what is anchoring me down? What is holding me back from truly blossoming, truly blooming, truly being able to step into my truth? This is the time to set the intention for how and when you're going to do it. Even if you decide that when is maybe 6 weeks, 6 months from now, etc., that's okay. Today you set the intention that I am doing this. This is when I will do it. This is how I will do it. And you're going to feel very affirmative and positive about that. Because of the dog energy here, I will say for some of you, themes of loyalty could play a role in relationships and could be a key sort of aspect into how they might change in this particular moment in time. So very powerful, very auspicious, very great sort of energy coming through for everybody, but particularly for you, especially because of the role that the moon plays in your particular sign. Let's move on to some dream messages that came through for you. If you find yourself in a position, now this can factor in any particular way. For those of you that happen to be working, this is probably going to be like a boss sort of situation. In families, this could be parental energy. And for the rest of us, it could just be like a really bossy friend or sort of person in your life that wants to kind of step in and take control. What I saw was this sort of, it was like a group activity, almost like a test that was being set up. But it was like, I'm sure many of you have these ridiculously forced icebreakers, particularly if you're in a corporate environment. They force you to do things that kids would do to see how you can bond. And it's very sort of artificial. And what I saw was with this, a sort of judgment being placed on people that were talking too loud or not quite doing this. And then the person called the people out and embarrassed them. This is a sign of bad leadership. So if you have a boss that maybe picks a favorite or two and then ridicules others, this has to stop. And if this is why I wouldn't last in a corporate environment. If someone was doing that now, I would raise my hand and say, with all due respect, it feels like you're doing counter to, like you're not leading by example. You're deflating egos. You're kind of making people feel bad, and you're not necessarily showing the higher energy. So they would just say, get out of here. And I would probably leave the situation too. But if somebody is not leading by elevation, saying, let's figure this out. I can see there's something here going on. You brought up a good point, but I do want to see more teamwork. I would like to pull this person and this person to help foster that. That's a better approach than calling out each and every person in a public way and ridiculing them. We have to deal with criticism in a constructive and a supportive way. If you're going to say something that isn't working, then you have to give some sort of a tangible way or reason to kind of like fix it. Otherwise, it's just going to cut things down. So I'm sure many of you have people in your lives that just like to complain or pick and sometimes embarrass. This particular time, especially since we have all this positive energy going on, no more room for that kind of leadership. So when it comes to being a leader, you want to do the reverse of that one. You want to elevate in your leadership. And if anybody is doing the reverse, you want to speak up and advocate for the underdog, bringing in the energy of Sirius again here and say, hey, this isn't the way to make things better, because we're in this manifestation period. If you say someone isn't good, they're going to do a good job at being bad. If you see potential in someone, which we talked about in my last reading, and encourage them, lo and behold, they may try because they feel this sort of positive reinforcement. Oh my gosh, this person who I respect, or even who's just above me, and they're suddenly paying positive attention to me. Why don't I see what happens? Maybe I can succeed. It works both ways. You can encourage someone into success. So let's try that leadership style. Let's try elevating and raising the bar and expecting the best. If someone disappoints you, then you can kind of approach it. But if you expect the best, you support them in the path, and then you even help them if they make a mistake. They're going to start to get better. They'll start to grow. It's like a plant that's being potted correctly, that's being fed correctly, that has room to grow. We talked about bonsai earlier. This is like the bonsai of leadership, which is restricting and pruning. And we don't want that. We want to plant someone and give them lots of room to grow instead. So that's kind of the message that came through, because I felt bad for the groups there, and I was kind of upset at the person that was leading. Even though I'm my own boss, it has nothing to do with me. It's obviously going to help some of you right now in finding a place where you can feel supported, where you can grow. Some of you may decide to step into this leadership. If you speak up, you may actually be charged with helping out. They may say, you know what, that's a great idea, or how would you like to do this? So be ready for that leadership opportunity as well, because it may open up for some of you. I think it's really important, no matter where you're at in relationships this month, to find common areas of interest. So instead of the things that you don't agree on, this is a good persuasive tool for, like, when I had an old speech and rhetoric class, like arguments. If you want to make a good argument, you have to begin by understanding the other person's point of view, perhaps even sympathizing with them for a moment, explaining how you've considered their point of view, maybe citing one or two things that you agree with, and then showing them that there's maybe a better way to do this. Because then you show that you're truly sitting with where they're at. So for you this month in relationships, if you want to be effective, persuasive, successful, you have to sort of put yourself in their shoes and find something that you can both agree on. That way it's going to be easier to work together. Okay? Good. The last piece was really beautiful and peaceful, actually. I saw a house that had been, all the windows were open and it had just been cleaned. And it felt great to just feel the breeze coming through the entire house. So a lot of times, if we're in the city, if it's cold or whatever, really hot, we kind of like button up all of the windows in the house and the energy gets stagnant. So I know that all of you may be in different weather patterns because I'm talking to everybody at once. But even if it's a cool day or a hot day or somewhere in between, take some time today to open the windows, even just for like 5 or 10 minutes. And today would be a great day to smudge using something like incense, sage, frankincense, or anything that you like. And just kind of go through the house, sweep it out, go from the center of the rooms to the corners, and open the windows and let the energy move. Because if we're in this wonderful portal, we want to clear it and kind of have a nice clean slate to align with that new moon. So today is a great day to smudge, to clean your crystals, to meditate, and to open the windows up for a little bit, weather permitting. Obviously, if it's raining and it's cold and everything, just for a couple minutes, let the wind move a little bit, and then you can close it. It's more of a symbol, sort of symbolic thing than anything. but give yourself a chance to do that. And you're going to feel movement happening. Okay. And I have an extra candle which we'll light together during the meditation today, and I'll leave it on until it burns out today. But light a candle and set a new intention here, as we talked about, and see a new path illuminated before you. So we'll do that in the meditation today. Today, you can make it a prayer, you can make it an intention, something positive, some sort of affirmative thing, and we'll do a collective prayer as well. Okay. So as you can tell, some really cool energy coming through for you, very powerful moment for creation. The main thing that I want you to kind of make peace with is that this is the end of stagnation. There may be a need to let go of something in order to open up that door, that portal, whatever's coming through. But the sooner you do that, the sooner the release happens, the sooner then that something positive can come into your life. All right, I'm going to stack up all the cards in front of me, and we'll have a chance to go through each of these at the midpoint. A reminder as well, you can follow me on social media. Dakota gave me a link, which I pinned there. You can go to my website and just click on social media. And I will post these messages usually within 24 hours of the broadcast. And it's a great way for you to I type them all out too. It just takes me a little time sometimes to summarize it. So if you haven't yet followed me on social media, you can do that. It's at Nicholas Ashbaugh everywhere but Twitter. And the link for that is on my website. Okay, so let's get into the reading for today. Welcome, everybody. I didn't mention this. You can use it for your sun, rising, moon, Venus. You can use it for any placement. Like I said, mine is in Mars. And so if you happen to know where Cancer is for you, you can watch it. And if you just want some messages about the portal and the opportunities, that's still going to be present today because I'm reading it during the Lionsgate. So everybody's welcome. All right, let's take a look and see what's coming through for you. There we've got death and rebirth and the tower here as well. So this all makes sense for today. And judgment, which is also rebirth. And you have a bunch here. I'm not going to pull all three. We're going to do these two. All right. Okay, that one literally just volunteered. The cards today are pretty animated, I have to say. I'm going to do another one just because I'm going to shuffle it. All right, let's take a look at what's coming through for you. You got some extra cards here, so I'll move through them as we need to. All right, your catalyst today is One with the Sun, and it's pretty much what we were talking about with leadership sort of approaches, and also just that brightness of the night star that I was talking about here being one with the sun with Sirius. So this is really important for you to see the positive and also be the sort of positive and strong one in life right now. Sometimes that's easier said than done because people around you may have this sort of tendency to want to mute or push down that kind of light, but there's no room for that right now. And we see a person here that's kind of halfway in, halfway out. So as you're starting to embrace this sort of power and this energy, it will eventually become like part of your mind, body, and spirit. But any sort of shift like this can take time. It can take a little bit of even acceptance within you to, I've talked about this before, but it's the equivalent of getting a degree, a diploma, or sometimes even having some sort of a raise. Not a raise, but a promotion, and you have this like new title, and or just like letters after your name all of a sudden if you got a degree, but you don't really feel any different. Not the first day, not the first month. It takes a few years for you to kind of step into something. Or it's like putting a ring on your finger and saying "I do." you were still a partner with that person before, you're still a partner now, but this sort of commitment and the exchange of words, magically now there's more. So I want you to just imagine that it's just like that. You just made a commitment about something, like putting the ring on your finger, and it will eventually sort of set in that this is something more than it was before, okay? Something elevated, something good, something better. The sun energy coming through also has to do with power, the solar plexus. A little bit further down, I was showing my heart there, but the solar plexus. And so I really want you to move forward with this idea that you are exactly where you should be. Things are going to be okay, that people respect you. Respect yourself, feel good about things, work on that self-confidence, and speak. We talked about this, I think, in the last sign of the sign before. Speak from that solar plexus as well, bringing because otherwise it's kind of shallow. So I really want you to kind of bring forth the power in your presentation. It's going to make a difference. So all good. It's a great card to kind of set it off here. A catalyst helps us stay in the light, helps us make the positive change necessary. You have the sun. Look at the positive, look at the bright side, use your light, use your energy, elevate. Your center card is also really auspicious here. We have the Knight of Swords. I love this particular take on the Knight of Swords. And instead of having a traditional horse, we have a motorcycle, which makes a lot of sense with modern day sort of technology. What's interesting about this particular knight, every time that I look at it, is that I get a sense that he's trying to catch up. So I want you to get one step ahead. No more playing catch up. So over the course of the next 6 to 8 weeks, whether you're watching it live in August or you're watching this in September when the reading is intended to be sort of like taking place, I would say the important thing for you is to start to, when you've checked off one item on your list, keep moving forward, because it's going to be important to not have to sort of like look over your shoulder and think, wait, did I do that? And what's going on there? And I need to catch up to this person. Things are happening pretty quickly right now, and it's important for you not to sort of get lethargic, okay? The other thing that I like with this is if we see he has a bow and arrow, right? He's like an archer. So I think the way that you can get a little bit more effective is to be very clear on where you're headed, so that there isn't this sense of who's going in what direction. And that was a beautiful segue into the chariot, because the only way a chariot is going to work is if both horses are working in the same direction. If one goes this way and the other one goes this way, the chariot's going to split in two, or one of them's going to break free. So this was also about the leadership that I was talking about before, that someone may be a bad leader or just doesn't know how. They haven't been set up for success themselves. So you could either communicate what you need in your life from that person to be a better leader, or you may have to step in and take control, because these look like wild steeds and they don't actually have any harness. And this chariot's kind of just lucky that it's been going on its own for so long. So there are some power struggles that are going on. There could be some loyalty issues, as I said, with the channeled messages. And the important thing for you is being direct and being clear on where you're headed, and then also not being afraid to take the reins and move forward. We have two forward moving symbols here: a knight, which rides a horse, which moves forward, which does the right thing, at least in the way that I read tarot. Knights should act with a code of conduct. And then we have a chariot card here, which is portending things about leadership, movement, control. So you need to lead by example, or step in if someone else can't do that. And you also need to take the reins at this moment in time and make some great stuff happen. These are gentle entrepreneurial cards. It's not like the Emperor, the Empress. It's just starting to take control of things, and you may eventually step into that Queen or King energy. But right now, it's just about saying, I can do it. I will do it. I am doing it, right? The accountability, the sort of belief in yourself, and all of that. All right. Let's take a look at deep past. So the deep past is the Tower reverse, which is the wake-up call for many of you right now. So if you're watching this live, you may be going through it. This is also the Lion's Gate portal, because when energy comes through, it can feel kind of like a tower as we're getting a download. But what I like about a tower reverse versus a tower upright, a tower upright, just like you can kind of see, is when the universe comes in, often indicated by like a bolt of lightning, and says, this no longer supports you in the way that it should, this relationship, this job, this habit. Therefore, I am going to make it impossible for you to continue to exist with whatever that was. So you'll have a life change that happens that wakes you up. The reversal of the tower says, my third eye is open. I see the path and I see the pattern and I know I shouldn't do it. And instead of waiting for something to become uncomfortable, I'm going to take the reins, make up for lost time, and get this horse and carriage on the road where it needs to be. Okay. So that's what you're going to do right now. You're going to get ahead of the tower. And you're watching this live, most of you. And so this is a time for you to do that. Even if you're watching it, like I said, in the month that it's intended for, you're still going to have time to fix things and move things around. The tower reversed is also not waiting for other people to tell you what they want or what to do. So if you are in the middle of at a job, a tower event, whether it's reversed or upright, can be a merger, an acquisition, a layoff, or a transfer of people from one place to another. Whenever that kind of major shift happens, you have a choice and you have a say in what your job could be. You should be actively speaking to leadership to basically say, I would like to put my hat in for this, or if changes are happening, this is an aspect of my job that I'd like to release, and this is something that I'd like to do. At least sort of speak up and see if they're open to it. You would be pleasantly surprised what will happen here. The other thing here, I'm kind of looking at this little squirrel. He makes me laugh. He's wondering what's going on. We can't hold on to everything. This is the time when I'm looking at his little acorns and all the nuts that he's hidden. I would say it's important now, if you had like a rainy day fund, or if you've been holding off on doing something and squirreled it away, this is the time to kind of pull that and say, all right, what am I waiting for? The squirrels often forget about all of their little, presents that they've left everywhere. And that's when they become trees, all the little nuts and everything. So let's access some of those things. And if not now, then when? When are you going to do it? So I think this is a wake-up call for that as well. A tower can also indicate a move that's already happening or a move that must happen. Again, sometimes a transfer, you have no choice because your company wants to move you, or your roommate moved out, you can't afford it, so you have to find a new place. It's something imminent, and you're going to move into that change and think, well, it's going to be for the better. And it will, because here you are, Cancer. We have the Queen of Cups coming through in the recent past. So this is going to show me that for many of you that are watching live, you're somewhere between these two. For those of you that watch in September, you will have just probably come through that, and you're seeing the blessing and the change. So I see a necessary change that's going to allow you to be more accountable, to catch up, to get ahead of things eventually, and to ultimately be more satisfied with things. This is a good card for love. It's a good card for relationships, and it's a great card for your sign. Are you open to receiving? Because if you are, things will come through. If you're too distracted and you're stuck in the energy of the tower, then that's when it's going to be a little bit difficult. So if you're already in an event that you can't control, think about what you can do next and what this might be doing to bless or enhance or move you onto a better path, because that's often all we can do if things are happening. We don't get a choice sometimes. Like I said, if there's a necessary move, if someone passes away and you're dealing with the repercussions of that as well, like there are certain events that happen and we just have to move with that energy of transformation, which is in your ego this month. We'll talk more about that in a second. All right, what can you do as you're traversing through or traveling through all of these things rather? We have the Page of Wands in reverse. Keep an open mind. Listen more than you speak, perhaps. And then also make sure that what you have conveyed to someone else has actually been interpreted the right way. Because I love a Page of Wands, but when the card is reversed, there tends to be something that's either stubborn, stuck, or could be better understood than it is. So if you're a teacher or a leader, there might be a different way to get the message across. If you are trying to understand something and someone's moving along too quickly, then I would say it's also really important for you to kind of meet people more at their level, or try to understand that there might be a different or better path to communication. So just keep an open mind and explore things and think about things a little bit. Planning is going to be really important as well. Okay. We have the Knight of Cups in the near future. So the Knight is reversed, but we still have this really elevated energy from the Queen in the recent past. So you want to remember that basically whenever we go through a change, initially there's an exhilaration, right? Oh my gosh, I finally did it, yay. Then, a couple days, couple weeks, couple months later, you think to yourself, did I just make like either the best or worst decision of my life? What am I thinking? So I can kind of see the polarized difference here between how you felt when you went through it and how you're feeling afterwards. So we want to remember with the Knight of Cups that it takes a little bit of time to settle into things. to really feel the full effect and the full benefit. I oftentimes like to remind people, especially if you've decided to move, like from one country to another or one part of your country to the other side, it can take at least 6 months, if not 12 months, to fully feel good about it and feel like you're at home and you're settled in. So it's natural when you make a change to have that uneasiness. Don't let it take you off what looks like a positive trajectory, okay? If you meet somebody new this month, for those of you looking for love, this particular card is reminding you that receptivity is important, that timing is important. With the Knight of Cups reversed, you could be meeting someone when you're not in the best sort of state of mind or your heart's kind of like mending. You could also be meeting someone that needs a lot from you. So I want to see more reciprocity. I'd rather see the Queen and the Knight upright, but I do see a chance for a significant relationship coming in. I see one person being much more ready to commit or to put energy into the relationship than the other. And that seems to be the biggest challenge. I'm not so worried because they're pretty close. If I get a knight and a queen or a queen and a king, it's close enough for me for partnership. The only thing that I would say, because it is in a sort of, I guess like this is more the leader, this is more the follower, is it feels like this month, maybe there's a role reversal happening for some of you in relationships, where this is especially for those of you in existing ones where you have to step in. This could be in part because someone's grieving, because someone's dealing with a lot, because they're cleaning up some sort of a big issue or mess in their life, and you have to step up and find more energy than you thought. You may also be letting go a little bit and allowing someone else to do that. So I see a little bit of a juggling act there, I guess, with role reversals. So just feel it out. There's nothing wrong with that. In a good relationship, you both get a chance to lead sometimes, right? So that's the mistake with like traditional ballroom dancing or something. Why can't the woman lead, right? Why can't the guy? Why can't there be 2 guys or 2 women? Why does it have to be anybody? Like, let's just take more turns. It doesn't have to be so sort of rigid, okay? We have the Death card here in your ego this month. With the Death card, change is not only necessary, it's already happening, and there's probably going to be more of it. So we see lots of shifting and changing. This is probably one of my favorite Death cards, if not my favorite one, because what we see is that it's a portal. It's not scary. Death, I mean, I wrote Death as a major character in my sci-fi novel, but I think Death is there at the beginning and the end of things for us. It's like a universal mother-father figure, and it's here to help us through significant changes in our life. So you just have a doorway opening. You probably have one closing, and you just have to figure out what you want to do with that, because there is a path that's waiting for you. Change is looking at you and saying, do you want to walk through this? If you do, great. If you don't, then you have to wait for another portal to open. But we're right here on the Lion's Gate today. So why don't we just commit to making the changes necessary and stepping into that possibility? Okay. I will say this can be a literal card. So some of you may be dealing with the loss of someone or something. So if that's going on, obviously and understandably, that creates a change in your life, and you may be trying to find your footing. So take special care of yourself. Even as you go into a new change, something that's exhilarating, I'd like to see more grounding. To see the Tower reverse in the deep past tells me that in your day-to-day life and your day-to-day approach, it can be a little wobbly. So take a moment, take your breath, take a nap, take some time to just sort of like find yourself and feel things out so that you don't get lost in this shifting and this movement, okay? On the bright side, as we look in the environment, I have the Ace of Swords. It feels like cognitively you are there. You are sharp as a tack with this particular card. And in fact, you may be picking up on things at a rapid sort of click, because we have the Knight of Swords at the center, which is good for communication. It's also good for like receiving things. And what I see with this Ace card is you need to do something with that. So the Ace and the Knight work pretty nicely together. Make sure that you are writing things down, talking to people, trying to get this sort of download out. Otherwise, you might lose that timing or that pacing, which we saw with the center 2 cards, okay? Sometimes when you are finally free of something, you can see like the world in a different perspective. So for those of you that may have been a caretaker for someone, and let's say they have passed, and again, my condolences if that happened, you may find as the weeks and the months and the years progress that your mind sort of clears up a little bit, because we can put a lot of energy sometimes in one person, place, or thing. Likewise, if for those of you that maybe decided to step away from a really taxing job any job, whether it's retail or CEO, it doesn't matter. They're all sometimes really hard on our mind, body, and spirit. When you're no longer fixated on that particular task, all of a sudden, like it's all these ideas come back, you find yourself again. So there may be a reclamation energy for some of you. This is like clearing and giving you a new foundation, a clean blackboard, a clean slate. And this is you finally figuring out, that's what I want. Because I'm kind of looking close at all the little writing. It's like you can go back and scribble out what you want. This is right. I forgot I lost the blueprint because I was so focused in the job, the person, the relationship, the habit, that I lost myself. So you can find yourself this month. And that's what the Ace of Swords is saying. It's a good month for writing. If you are a writer, if you are creative, if you want to go to school or whatever, this is a good time. And I got that energy of learning when I was reading for the last sign. So it's coming through for you too, not just Gemini, which I did last. All right, we've got Judgment reversed. There is a little bit of disbelief, a little bit. We need to work on this today. And hopefully, actually, I don't want to even forget about this because with it being the Lion's Gate, this is one of the things that we have to look at in the soul path. So I want to work with you on the disbelief and overcoming it because there's no room for you not to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in what's possible, nobody is going to be able to completely, fully, and wholly help you get into the next phase. So the Judgment card happens when change has happened, a decision has been made, or something's already unraveled, but we haven't quite yet made peace with it, with the reversal of this. You haven't fully stepped into the new you, right? This is a rebirth card. Even though death in this deck is called rebirth, a lot of times Judgment will show a phoenix rising. In this particular deck, we see the higher self rising. We also see sort of the rebirth after this. In a traditional card, you would see souls rising from the dead as Archangel Gabriel plays its horn. So it's the same imagery here, just kind of like reinterpreted. So what I'm seeing for you is that there's a new you. It's looking at you. Your future self is looking at you. And it's saying like, are you ready? Why are you waiting? So I'm going to look at this disbelief and we're going to ask your future self, why do you disbelieve it? We're going to do that like in the soul path. I think it's a super important question. For now, all I can tell you is that I want you to be able to believe in yourself more than you have perhaps in the past, or perhaps than other people have allowed you to do. This is your time. Okay. I'm actually going to pull the third card. I said I wasn't, but because this is so important, there were 3 cards that came together. I'm glad I pulled it. It was the moon. All right. So this is really weird, but we had a triple totem today and these 3 cards stuck together. My guides were giving me a hard time. They said, just pull the third card and go through it. All right. So this is your future state. This is what's coming through. You have to look at it from a different perspective. The Hierophant in reverse is innovative and not stuck in his or her ways. 7 of Cups reversed, actually auspicious as well. You need to decide what you want to do. Upright is about thinking and indecision. Reversed is actually about decision and narrowing down the field. And very important, we got the moon card, which just validates why you've got to do this because of the new moon. And we see a full moon in the distance here. So we're looking at 1 lunar cycle for many of you to step into this new you. Now, this particular moon card shows how we can sometimes feel weighted down by, how am I going to do this? How's it going to happen? Don't let that happen. Remember, the moon rules you. So let's pull into the intuitive energy of it, the sort of kind of instinctual side where you just know it. You're going to figure it out. Put that into the ether instead. I'll just make it work. Avoid this. We talked about loyalties, and that's what happens here with the wolf and the dog. For some of you, there's too deep of a chasm right now for some of you to kind of be able to get past something with someone. That's fine. Focus on doing what you need to do right now. There'll be plenty of time later to heal that. All right. So those are your sort of outcome cards. Usually there would be 1, but they stuck together. So I just had to honor that. All right. Let's go ahead now and expand to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We'll begin with your health card, mind, body, spirit. Ebb and flow. Love it. We have the ocean card here coming through for you. Are you getting the water theme? I certainly am. This is actually the answer to this card, which is things will work out. There are cycles of creation and destruction. The ocean is perfect as a metaphor for, it is death and rebirth. It is death and judgment combined, because If you put a bottle out into the ocean, it's eventually going to be broken down and become sea glass or sand one day. This is also where we were all born from. We all evolved from life forms that came from the ocean. So this is the place of death, rebirth, recycling, all of that. In your emotional state this month, there may be things coming and leaving, and so coming and going. Relationships, key relationships may fall away, but it's going to make room for someone or something new or a better version of yourself. So that's the main thing here. It might be a little tricky to manage your emotions this month. Talk to someone if you need to. Let's take a look specifically at some other things here. I think there's a necessary change for those of you that want to step away from an old habit or want to change something this month. Do it. You're very much supported in that. You have 3 of the biggest cards in tarot coming through when I'm looking at health. We have in the past, deep past, this sort of instability of the Tower. We have in the ego the ability to completely change it. We have disbelief that you can make the change, but an understanding on a higher self that actually you can make the change. So you have to work through that ambiguity, comfort with ambiguity, and dealing with the discomfort that we often feel with not being able to see everything. Some of you are having a hard time concentrating. You may have a hard time following instructions because this is an instructive card. This is a confused card sometimes. The reversal of this is getting clarity. So tell someone that just because that's the way they've done it, that you might need to look at it from a different way. Don't let your fear hold you back from going toward what you want to, okay? I think those are the main things, actually. Those are the most important things. I will say one thing that I really like for you is that you're going to come out of this 6 to 8 week period a lot clearer than you came into it. So if you're watching this and you just feel like there's a lot to process, keep looking at this video. I set this up as a sort of like, as a guide for you. And I will put the time codes in. It takes me a day usually, but I'll get back tomorrow and you'll have all the time codes. So you can come back and look at this at any point and revisit the pieces that you need. It'll get clearer as the month goes through. We're working in advance, and that's a good thing. That's why we do these readings this far in advance. So you have plenty of time to course correct as you need to. All right, that's health in a nutshell. Let's take a look now at wealth. And it's a necessary change. It's basically the 6 of Swords. And the important thing here is for those of you that have already stepped into change, it says release control. And it could seem a little bit counter. For those of you that are getting ahead of change, you're fine. But like if the Tower's already happened, what I was talking about here is key. So if you see change happening, you can't put it back. It's kind of like Pandora's box. When it's open, everything's out. So once the change energy has happened, death doesn't go away. It's sort of saying, no, we're going to keep touching all of these things and change is going to happen. So surrender to the journey. This is the 6 of Swords. It's a partner to death. I mean, in mythology, this would be sort of like going across the river Styx, right? So you've just got to make that transition. Something's going to happen. So I feel like for you, for career, there's a necessary change. The sooner you surrender to that change, the better. It could be a change of mind. It could be a change of heart. It could be an environmental change. It could be that you just got an upgrade in title, or maybe not, a demotion, but whatever it is, the change is imminent. What are you going to do about the change? That's the important thing. You can't change that the change happened. You can instead go into the energy of transformation and decide, do I want to stay or do I want to go? Some of you might want to go based on the card here. But it's a journey and it's going to take you somewhere else if that's the case. And there's no reason that this can't be a better place than where you were. Okay. So change. All right. Let's look at some specific messages. We do not have pentacles, do we? All righty. That's going to be question number 2. I want to look at resource management for you. So we're going to look at the disbelief and we're going to look at resource management, 2 super important things. But let's look at some other things here. Like I said before, there could be, for many of you, stepping into a middle management or a more accountable role. I think that's going to be good for you. There is some emotional challenges between you and your friend, your partner, your boss. You're going to have to figure that out as well. There may be a role reversal coming through also. Some of you have to step away. There has to be a necessary shift, death and judgment, death and rebirth. So if you feel like there's so many different ways this could kind of factor out. Some of you may have achieved everything that you wanted to. Death can just indicate the pinnacle, the ultimate, the climax of a particular sort of career path. And then you wake up one morning and you think, now what? Why am I here? What am I doing? So this can happen in your 20s, 30s, 40s, it doesn't matter, whatever age range you're at. So that's okay. And then you just decide, well, maybe I want to go back to school. Maybe I want to try this. Maybe there's a different way that I could get interested, but something's missing. If you're a student, you could be deciding that the path that you're on isn't what you thought it would be. So you could talk to your advisor and figure out like, well, what if I pull in a different minor, or could we transfer these credits and go to this major? There's a change. If you're retired, you're looking at life purpose and thinking, what can I do with the time that remains? You could be looking at longevity. There could be some questions there. Your mind is sharp. We've got the Ace of Swords here. Do something you want to do. Maybe it is writing, speaking, or helping people, because that is about a nice download of your thoughts. So with career, there's a big shift coming for you, but you're going to be fine. Okay. This looks like a necessary change. That's kind of how I'm going to sum up career. All right, let's look at your love card. I have to put my glasses on for this one because the text is too small. All right, it says, back to what you love. Your current situation is not giving you an opportunity to reevaluate what you want. So I feel like we have a lot of the same messages with very different cards here. And we see the path in front of this person, right? So with your relationship, this is a make it or break it month. I definitely see that with death and judgment. Let's break it down. I'm going to pull the camera down for a second as we look at folks that are in love, folks that are looking for love, and folks that are just open to what the universe may bring right now. So if you are currently in a situation, like in a relationship, what I'm looking at right now for some of you is perhaps one partner is dealing with a big change in his or her life. So when we have Tower, death, and judgment, this could be like retirement. This could be a loss of a parent or a loved one. This could just be a big shift, and they need your support. So in it, like sometimes you get scared when you see those three. That's not a big deal in my book. It just tells me that your partner needs a little bit more, and there could be this sort of balancing. So just be there for them. I think that's the best advice I can give to current relationships. And keep speaking. Keep an open kind of communication. Don't be afraid to talk about new things and explore new things. Your outcome cards are actually pretty positive. There's a couple of interesting cards in between, but we do have Knight of Cups. We have the Moon here, which is you. I feel like you're going to be able to sort it out this month. But there has to be a shift. There has to be movement. And one of your partner or you may be dealing with this sense of, I don't believe in myself, or how could this be? So you just may be playing the role of champion to try to help them out with that. Some of you may decide to step away, clearly with death and judgment. I feel like that's also going to be for your betterment, because we go from a reverse Knight of Cups to an upright Moon, again, indicating you and the release that's necessary. So you're either going to stick it out and support each other, or you're going to step away. There's not a lot of in between. Whatever path you choose, it's actually quite auspicious. I think it's worth the work if you want to do the work, but if you don't, that's okay too, because some of you just want to focus more on development, and that's a-okay. If you're looking for new love right now, it is tricky. I feel like maybe because I almost feel like this has more to do with the people that aren't looking, because there's so many changes going on. The universe almost throws in a new curve, which is, oh, by the way, there's a person here that you might be interested in. Whether you're not looking for it or you're looking, I feel like it's kind of the same. You've got a lot to clean up and a lot to get organized, and it's going to be difficult to balance that extra energy of a relationship. Try to avoid being territorial, fighting about unnecessary things. Do, however, talk about things that inspire you, that you're afraid of. You could strengthen your relationship. It could become something deeper. This could also be a transition from friendship into love, but it's a transition of something into something potentially greater, but both people have to be on the same mental plane for that, okay? If you are stepping into something new, into something unknown, whether it's a new relationship or being on your own, you're going to be fine. All right. You got two cards for the end as well, because the cards seem to just be flying around energetically today. So we have the Hawk Spirit. Let Spirit be your guide. Really trust the signs and symbols that you're receiving. So they're all over the place. They're here, and they're around us. So I was talking to a really good friend the other day about how the words that she had heard from a relative came through the mouth of someone else, and it was a clear indication of what not to do in a particular situation. So sometimes our loved ones will pick the best channel they can. It could be a child, it could be television, it could be the radio, it could be a person that you know, and you'll hear something come through that channel. The same thing works for God and your guides and spirit in general. It's going to choose the closest and most relatable channel for you. The hawk is saying, just listen, just look, it's all around you, okay? It'll keep trying in different ways too until you listen. All right, I laugh at this pig spirit here. Use your mind wisely. But I also think of being sort of like pig-headed a little bit. So sometimes we don't want, this is judgment reversed in some ways too. Because like when pigs fly, right? I'll believe that when pigs fly. Well, guess what? The pig is flying. So this is a time to really kind of surrender to the impossible or the possible. Why are you making the possible impossible? And why are you being difficult? The pig is coming through. They're actually quite intelligent creatures. I've used them before for spirit totems. They've come through. So a pig is really intelligent. Sometimes it overthinks. Judgment reverse can overthink. So let the pig fly. Let it be. Let's go towards that sort of unknown and use your mind for better things than worrying about unnecessary stuff. Okay? Cool. Let's do a mini review, and then we're going to look at those two really important questions on the soul path plus a wild card. Why are you, some of you, not all of you, maybe having the disbelief? What is the potential surprise for some of you that you might need to sit with? And then why don't we have any pentacles? What's going on with resource management? What are you holding back? And then I'll pull another one as well. And then we'll meditate. We'll open up the portal, and then I'll pull your card. All right. So let's look really quickly at everything we talked about, bring everything into clear focus, and then we'll go into the soul path. So here's what the messages are. This month, you have a really fantastic totem. It's a triple totem that usually only happens for collectives. But today is kind of like a collective reading because of the portal that's opening up. So we have a new moon. We have the Lion's Gate portal, and then we also have the star Sirius. As Sirius rises in the night sky tonight, Orion's belt aligns with the pyramids at Giza, this increases the amount of cosmic energy flowing into this realm, which is helping you with manifestation. For your sign in particular, for Cancer, it's intensified because not only do we have a new moon, which in and of itself is manifestation, but the moon rules Cancer, which is really auspicious. So those of you that are kind of also having Leo in your chart somewhere, this will even make it further important for manifestation. But right now, I would just say this is a really important time to create change. It's auspicious, it's positive. Even though we have these change cards that are coming through, there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just saying change, 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 change. So I would have expected nothing less than to get at least some of these cards. We got all of the change cards pretty much. Four of Swords might have been the only other one that didn't come through. All right, so let's see what else we've got here. Since this is a new moon, okay, again, all this means thoughts and intentions are very much potent and definitely can manifest. So you want to be careful of how you think and what you're thinking. And tonight, today, whenever you have a chance, I want you to write down your intentions. Imagine it's like New Year's and you're making some wishes for this new part of the year, and we're kind of beyond the halfway point. So I think it's good to do this. Say, I am, I will, basically speaking in positive, affirmative statements is going to be very important for you. We'll do it in the meditation together as well. Speak those intentions aloud, place them under a crystal in the moonlight tonight. If you want to, afterwards, you can even rip that up and put it in the ocean. You can burn it if you'd like to. You can do whatever you'd like to also send it up into the ethers. Or like me, you can just light a candle. You don't have to do anything destructive. Visualize each dream coming to fruition. Success is the only outcome, and I really want you to sit with that mantra. In Greek mythology, Sirius, the star that I talked about rising in the sky, it was the dog of the hunter Orion. Orion's belt, which is aligned to the pyramids, is the brightest star in the sky. You are going through that stellar energy of change. You have that light guiding the path tonight. That star is also associated with Osiris, which is the ruler of the underworld. Death, change, transformation, definitely key themes. And he made an appearance here for sure. So just look at the positive aspects of transformation, which are growth and change and rebirth. Major shifts. Stagnation is over. Death did come upright, so that is indeed the case. Themes of loyalty could play an important role in relationships this month. We got a little bit of that in the moon card. So try to figure out who you trust, who you want to lean on, and invest accordingly. All right, the next piece here, when it comes to leadership, elevate. Even if other people don't do that, this card is definitely one of being in a sort of cliquey environment or someone that might be trying to create trouble, you're not going to let that happen. In fact, if someone in your life is divisive in that manner or fashion, you want to speak up. You may be surprised at how much support you get. It's going to be significant. A lot of people may just be tired of that behavior. Find common areas of interest across the board. Try to focus on that instead of dividing. Specifically, if it's something like, again, cliques or political things, it's not worth it. Open the windows today, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Smudge and let the old energy leave the house so that you can really set intentions on a clear slate tonight. Light a candle. We'll do that during the meditation together and see a new path illuminated before you. We have the sun here, one with the sun. It's really your time to shine, to find your power. There's also the energy of children that comes through with any sun card, particularly in tarot. So nurturing that inner child and also maybe healing relationships either between you and a child or between you and a parent. It's a good thing to do this month as well. Working on the solar plexus, finding your power, owning your power, also important. We have two kind of cards here that are about leadership and control, and it's really just about accountability too. You can do it. That's what I see with the Knight of Swords and the Chariot. You might even be able to do it than other people, better than others. So don't be afraid to step into that. I see really good energy around leadership and change. We have the Tower in the deep past. We have the Death card in the soul. We have Judgment in hopes and fears. So change is happening. I'm going to step into it. And I'm not going to be afraid of it. Queen of Cups, that's you. Knight of Cups reversed, that's someone else. There's this sort of energy here of, can I lean on someone else? Am I ready for this? Relationship energy is a little bit like we see with this. It's going to ebb and flow. There's going to be ups and downs. True partnerships will work through this, and it's going to be okay. This is a sort of make it or break it month for those of you that might be in a fresh relationship, though. So I guess it's a benefit, actually, because you're going to know where you stand by the end of the month. Keep an open mind. Consider different ways to learn or to do something. Also consider the audience, and they may need a different sort of approach to something, so be open-minded. Make sure that you have a way to sort of heal and let go of stuff. With the Knight of Cups, this can also be an aspect of your own personality, so there may be something going on where you just need a break, right? You just need to let go a little bit. Ultimately, I like Knight of Cups, though, coming through for you. Receive. It's your turn to receive and to take care of yourself. Change is happening. Change is a blessing. Embrace this change. We have the Ace of Swords, which is showing me that you have, as long as you have a clear mind, you're going to be able to really make this moment count. And this is in your environment. So I think people really want to hear what you have to say and think. So don't hold back. The new you is already there. It's sitting there. It's staring at you. We're going to take a look at what the message is from the future self in just a second. And then you had 3 cards here in the outcome. Think in new and innovative ways. Clear up and your mind and be more decisive. And then ultimately, don't be afraid. Go into your instincts. Know that you're being led in the right path at the right time. Ebbs and flows emotionally are going to play a big role in health and happiness this month. Change is possible, but it takes time. You're not going to go immediately from point A to point B. There's some half steps in between as you start to accomplish things. You may have now that finally made up your mind to let go of something, a habit in your life, but it takes time and a little bit of patience sometimes to get completely through that, particularly if it's an addiction or if you're changing a health regimen. It takes a little bit of time to step into that. You might be dealing with loss in your life, and you're going to be able to access that sort of energy a little bit more. You probably will have dreams about this person or visitations, and that's okay too. This is just a period of change and shifting and movement for your general health and well-being. We didn't get anything really scary in this. I would say some of you just have a wake-up call that you're dealing with. And the question is, are you going to take that wake-up call, whatever that might be? For wealth, it's a chance to move on. And it's a necessary moment of like moving into change. So I feel like with the change that's happening in your current sort of career, money, or activities situation, you have to think, is it enough? Do I want to keep going with this change, or do I just want to move into something altogether different? Somebody needs to listen to you, it feels like. And if they're not open to you or they're casting judgment upon you, that's not their job to do. And I did see some issues with leadership. And this is kind of a warning and an encouragement to find a different path, I think, if that's the case. For love and relationships, it says back to what you love. And you have a chance to reevaluate. And that's really what we have. Do you want to stay, or or do you want to go? You have a choice in relationships this month. If you're in a relationship, role reversals might be happening, someone picking up the slack, also maybe supporting a partner through big periods of change. If you're looking for love or not interested in love, it feels like the most important thing for you is finding a way to emotionally balance out what's going on, to believe in yourself, because that disbelief brings in some weird characters sometimes. And then ultimately, I feel like you may have to deal with a new relationship no matter what, because it looks like the universe is kind of like throwing in a new option. Could be a friend, could be a love interest, could also be someone you thought was a friend and it ends up being much more. So just kind of go with the flow here. Ebbs and flows, remember, you're going to be fine. My favorite two cards in the sort of general reading were these two. Spirit's speaking to you every day. It's speaking through me, it speaks through the TV, it speaks through your friends. Listen to the messages and believe in yourself. Pigs can fly, at least in this card. It's really talking about what's possible. And sometimes we make the possible impossible, so don't fall into that particular situation. All right, let's now take a look at your future self. Let's imagine that you're looking at you, but maybe a few weeks, months, or years down the road. And how many times have you said, I wish I could go back to my old self and say this? Well, we're going to do that right now. Let's see what your future self wants to tell you about disbelief, about believing in yourself, about the possibilities. Okay. The future self is being very specific. Be accountable is what the message is here. Be honest with yourself. It's hard to be honest with yourself sometimes. But this card is saying, you know what to do. You know what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. Say it to you or to someone else. So if you're not that interested in a relationship or a job, be honest with yourself and walk away from that. If someone's trying to do something that you don't like and you know about it, say, I see you, and this isn't acceptable. Bring their accountability into the fold and make sure that you're doing the same. The Seven of Swords is just being honest with yourself at the end of the day. So there's something going on in your life where when you surrender to the difficult truth of something, everything gets easier. So just be truthful, be honest, be accountable, and don't overpromise. And I think you're going to be okay. The other thing here is some of you are afraid, because I'm looking at the original question about disbelief. Some of you are afraid of letting other people down. This is an imposter card as much as anything else too. So if you feel like you weren't the right person or you're getting away with something, this is particularly true if you were given like a new title or someone loves you and you don't feel like you're worthy of it. You really need to work on that and make sure that you believe it because they see it. So take a look at stuff and see where that's coming from. And the sooner you can get through that, the sooner you can step into this luminous energy that we see here. Okay. Okay, let's see what's next. All right. The next piece was resource management. So we don't have any pentacles today. We've got a lot of other cards. So let's see what the message is about resource management. Okay, well, I got pentacles, but I got the Two of Pentacles. And it's basically saying you need to make a choice. And it is the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So many times the Two of Pentacles is a choice between career and personal life, or satisfaction and obligation. There's something here where you're being tugged in a different direction than where you're currently sort of situated. It also is an important decision that you have to make. So for those of us that tend to say, well, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do it all. This card is saying you can't do everything effectively. So focus on doing one or two things really well, and then you can go back to the cookie jar and take another one out, but you can only do kind of like one or two at a time. Be decisive, be specific, stay focused, okay? With respect to any sort of specific decisions that you have to make between like high ticket items or financial things, this is also about not overextending yourself, because you may find yourself, again, this is why the honesty card comes through right before this money card. It just may be more than you can, you're biting off more than you can chew, to use that phrase, but taking on more than you can actually work through. I would say delegation is important too. Pushing back is important. Limits are good as well. So with resources, you can make it work, but you're going to have to make a choice. It feels like the choice has already been made, but there has to be an acceptance of said choice in order for everything to kind of like factor out. Ultimately, Two of Pentacles can get a bad rap. It is a balance card. So you will find the balance. You just have to make a choice to find the balance. Okay. All right. Let's take a look now at the wild card here, which is just anything else that we've missed, but that we need to know to get you into that positive state. Five of Pentacles. All right. So now we're getting into more of the resource message here. So the disbelief, your future self is bringing through a little bit more of the message with this particular card. The disbelief is an illusion. And this Five of Pentacles, which also is probably this deck has a lot of my favorites in it, but I love this card because the key to success has always been right there within. This person doesn't believe in their potential. Therefore, they're not taking that key and opening the door. In a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, you would see a sanctuary of some sort, a church, a mosque, a temple, and you would see two people that are not paying attention to each other or are not helping one another, and they're in the cold. Meanwhile, there's this warm shelter behind them, and there's the connection of the two of them. This one, we don't even see the other person. So I feel like for some of you, someone stepped out or deserted or just didn't come through the way you wanted them to, and this has created this illusion of a lack of worth. This could also be you being so hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. You are worth the opportunity in front of you or behind you or around you. So take that key, open the door, new things await you, heal yourself. It's time. A lot of times this is wounds from this constitutes a wound from the past. So parent, friend, teacher, or just something we internalized because of the way the world was when we were a kid, but it's changed and people have changed and we have changed as well. So you've got to walk through the portal, which is death here, saying, there's something better. There's something brighter. There's a new day. All right. Don't sell yourself short. This is breaking even to the point of like putting yourself second, third, or fourth. I would much rather get the Six of Pentacles because at that point you have a little bit more than enough. You can choose when and where you want to give up more, but this one is barely breaking even. So if there is some sort of a negotiation this month, I want you to push for a little bit more, because the Two of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles are limited and limiting sort of energies, fiscally speaking and resource-wise. So I think it's important for you to step up and see yourself as more valuable. You don't have to get ridiculous, but definitely with a negotiation, just a little bit more, push for a little bit more. And then in general, delegate. So if you're in a partnership or you're already employed and you're doing too much, but you're not getting paid enough, then it's time to kind of delegate and then not kind of work yourself into sickness, because this can be sickness and you don't want that during a pandemic. Okay. Generally, Spirit came through beautifully in the main spread and then got real. We got real talk here when we look at the soul path, which is to be honest with yourself, to make a decision and to really believe in yourself. If I just had to summarize it. So be honest, be decisive, and take that first step. All right. Perfect. Let's do the magical opening of the Lion's Gate portal, and then I will work on a final question that you might have for me afterwards. So we're going to go to Egypt for this. I'm going to pull up my iPad for a moment here to help you see or visualize, for those of you that joined me a little bit late, how the constellation of Orion kind of aligns with the pyramids. So let's take a look here at the pyramids again. Here we go. Okay. So let me see if I can get it a little bit quicker. Okay. So there you go. We're going to imagine that we are in the night looking at the pyramids with those three stars, Orion's belt, aligning to the pyramids at Giza. So in this moment, I want you to see a clear night sky above you. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Let go. Focus on those three stars and just keep looking at them. They kind of align in such a way that it's almost like your third eye is right there in the middle, looking at that center pyramid. Imagine now that the lights, the stars, start to get closer to you, almost like they're starships or they're stars that are coming toward you. And I want you to see truth coming through with this energy, see your potential. With this first star that comes through on the left, this is encouragement. This is realization. This is understanding your power. And imagine that that star comes all the way through your eye, and it goes into your body, and you start to embody the energy of that star. And I want you in this moment to believe now that I am, I will, and it is happening, whatever it is. I am XXX, whatever it is. So you could say, I am a strong healer. I am a powerful, student. I am a perfectly capable, etc. Just put all of that in there, whatever it is. I want you to see the possibility and the realization. And now feel that this is burning through any of that energy that might have been in the Five of Pentacles. The fear, the doubt, the uncertainty is starting to melt away. And you feel now this sense of power, strength, and worthiness. Now, as the center star comes in through your third eye, your intuition is awakened. You can see not only what will be, but also why it will be, what was. It's like Janus, you can see in both directions. So you're understanding your present and your future because of your past, because of this lifetime and the previous lifetimes. You've set everything up so that you could walk through this portal in this moment. As the third star comes through, you now understand that possibilities create reality. So I want you to start to think expansively. This is the view into the unknown. So we have this sense of self-worth. We have your third eye opening and looking in all directions. And then we also have this imaginative energy coming through with the third star. Imagine now that your heart is starting to open up, and it's like a fourth star now that's going to rise up, go atop of the pyramids for a moment. We're going to sit there and imagine that as you're atop of these three pyramids, that there's a gateway that opens in front of you. And this is the gateway that we see here. And that star that you can kind of see at the center is you. And transformation is just allowing you to step through that portal. I want you to think of something that you would like to create. I'm going to light a candle behind me, and then we're going to play the singing bowl. So focus on it, envision it, and understand that that envisioning is actually step number one in just allowing this to happen. So let's set that intention. I am, I will, I believe. We're lighting the candle now to solidify that prayer. I'm going to put it back behind me so that you can see it as we meditate right there. And I'm going to allow that to burn through the night, through the day, until your prayer has been heard, has been listened to. All right, at this point, let's go ahead and meditate. I'm going to pull up the singing bowl here, and we're going to allow you to step into the portal and amplify your energy. Imagine that as we're playing this, that the energy is going to be coming also through the crown portal, through the top of your head. And you may hear or feel or see light as we're allowing this light activation to happen. So there's energy coming through here, and also your ears, the chakras in there, they may activate. So just see light coming through you, focus on the three stars above you and the star within you. And then eventually when you're ready, take the hand of the future you and go through the portal and step towards manifestation. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Imagine now that you've released all fears, all inhibitions, and you're allowing yourself now to feel as light as a feather, moving through the portal that is in front of you, taking the hand of the future you, and feeling the sense of liberation, of strength, of possibility. If there's any final intention that you would like to say, we lit that candle behind us here. go ahead and say that. You can write it out as well. Write it, speak it, see it, and then in the days and weeks to come after this reading, do it. This is your chance to really step into that creative energy. Okay. So while I'm getting everything set up here, I want you to also set your intentions on what your final question is for me, something that maybe I haven't covered or an extra question that just came to you as we were meditating. And I will take a look and see what the message is for you. All right, you can open your eyes if you haven't already. Let's see what your final card is. All right, we got the Knight of Pentacles. All the Pentacles came out later. All right, so the Knight of Pentacles in reverse would be for me, there would be two messages here with this. It's hard to make this an absolute yes. What I would say with this is there seems to be a little bit more information that you need, and there needs to be more there for you to feel comfortable with this. This is a card about investing in oneself when it's reversed. So you may be making a decision right now to do something for the betterment of your health, for your career, for your relationship. You're taking some time and energy and investing it in something else. So I see that as a worthy cause. If there's a person or an opportunity that's coming toward you, it feels like you might want or need a little bit more validation, a little bit more support, a little bit more clarity on that. So you should get that first. Overall, it's a very positive card. The reversal of it can also just be that sort of issue that we were working with the Five of Pentacles. So see this as a worthy opportunity. Fight for what you need to feel like you are on the same sort of page and probably the same level as the other person. And I think that's going to be what's necessary. So it's a yes, but a yes with a caveat that it needs to feel right for you, that you shouldn't be giving a lot more than you're receiving, and that maybe first, before anything, you really focus on self-development and self-development, self-worth. I think that's going to be the most important piece. Okay. Because you had a Knight at the center and a Knight here, I definitely see things moving quicker than you thought. And because we have a Chariot here, this extra thing that's coming in is like the second horse, right? So there may be another person that comes in that can kind of help you complete this cycle, this dream, or accomplish something a little bit quicker. So that could be a very positive piece as well. All right, so I hope you enjoyed today. This was, again, kind of like a mini collective because we did a lot of Lionsgate energy as well, but it's also about you. So let me quickly remind you of ways that you can connect with me. So if you want to see these cards that I wrote a little bit later, you can check me out on social media. I'm at Nicholas Ashbaugh on all of these different social media platforms. You can click on the link that Dakota put in the top to remember that. And a quick note for the upcoming Sundays this month, they should all be collectives. So we're going to have a mid-month collective coming up next month. I just put the link, or next week rather. And then we're going to do the weekend after that will be a bonus one. And then we'll do the end of the month collective. I kind of kept them on Sundays this month because I thought that would be nice for all of us. Thank you to everybody that's given support. If you'd like to do that now, you can still do that with the super chat. You can also later do it with the super thanks, which is right by the share icon. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please hit the thumbs up. I think we're not quite at half. So if you haven't hit it once, go ahead and hit it once. If you are a first-time viewer here, subscribe so you can see future videos and also so that YouTube knows that this is good content. It's a small thing. It really helps. It's free. Even though it's called subscribe, it's basically just follow. I'm also on Twitter. It's @Ashbaugh. It's the only one that has a different name. I think that's pretty much everything. One last thing here. If you like fantasy and sci-fi, you can geek out with my book. It's called The Luminous Ones. It's for folks that really enjoy like Lord of the Rings type fantasy or Dune. It's a little bit bigger and lengthier. So if not, just check out here and come back. I'll be back tomorrow, actually. So we'll be doing Leo tomorrow. And then I'm here every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday and Friday, unless otherwise noted on the scheduled link, which I just posted. And thank you so much. It was really a pleasure to be here and to bring through all this great energy and information for everybody. Thanks to Maria. Thanks to Dakota for helping out. Thanks to all of you for showing up. And again, I hope to see you tomorrow. And like I said earlier, if you like what you see, like and subscribe. It helps a lot. All right, take care, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend and a great week ahead. I wish you all the best. And I appreciate that. And thank you for those final contributions. They mean a lot. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.